Wednesday morning. Who's awake? Hey. Hello, Emmy. Hello, Addie. Hello, Almo. Hello, Ava. Hello,
Hey.
Mackenzie. Hello, Madison. Hello, Frank. Hello, Ben. And I didn't miss anybody. Ooh, some more friends are coming. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. Now, while you guys settle in and get nice and comfy, we are going to finish letting our friends in. Hi, Emmy. So what do we have today? We have, hi, Leon. Now let me see. Is Ruby here? No? Okay, who was our substitute yesterday? I want to pick a new substitute. Olmo. Okay, Olmo, can you pick a new friend who will be our teacher substitute? If they don't want to, they can say no, and you can.
Leon.
Leon, do you want to do it? All right. Okay, Leon, thank you, Olmo. Let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is have our substitute teacher helper, Mr. Leon. Go for it, Leon. Tell me everything with our promise.
Participate, be respectful, be on time, microphone muted, successfully full name in the chat, stay seated, eyes on me.
Woohoo! Very good. Thank you, sir. You're going to come up. We're going to get you again for the calendar, okay? So wait for the calendar. Now, our weekly spotlight, same people as we saw yesterday because we are celebrating them all week. That is Almo for being the most awesome Zoom promise keeper this week. Leon for amazingly detailed responses, no one-word answers, no one-sentence answers. He absolutely includes more details. Madison for working hard and keeping on pace. Great work, guys. Okay, Mr. Leon, it is your turn. Today is. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Unmute. 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 Unmute.
5/20/22.
Oh, start over. We didn't hear you. Today is
Wednesday, 5/20/22.
You mean October 5th?
Yeah, October 5th.
Excellent. Thank you, my love. Great work. Okay, and of course, another shout out to our October birthdays, Mr. Feyruza and Miss Isabella. Now, I wanted to go over this real quickly with you. I had some interesting news come my way. iReady has left the building. I'm sorry. I can't access it anymore. I can't even see who was doing iReady anymore. I can't even go back in time to see who was doing iReady. And some of you might have lost access too. So we're pausing the iReady challenge until we come up with this alternate solution. Now, Miss Addie and I did brainstorm and we did have some other solutions. So we might use Addie's idea for how to do our iReady challenge. Instead of calling it the iReady challenge, we'll call it something new. So look for that next week. But I do owe a few friends some prizes. Okay, so don't worry, I have not forgotten, but I will work with you and figure out who it was that I owe prizes to. Okay. Okay. All right, guys, let's move on. No tears on that. We will figure it out. What are we doing today? Today, we will recognize similes.
Bella.
Ooh.
Come on now.
Ooh, sorry. Okay. We will recognize similes and metaphors in literary text so we can describe how words and phrases supply rhythm and meaning in a story, poem, or song. I know I have it when I can find and make literary comparisons that make text more interesting. Okay. All right, I'm looking at a blank screen. There it is. Now I have to put on my best commercial voice, so get ready. I'm going to be on TV right now. Are you suffering from the dreaded writer's bore? Do you wish you could engage your readers and make them say more, more? There are many literary devices to save you. Why not use a simile or metaphor too? All right, so what are we talking about? We're talking about how to make your writing and how authors make their writing more interesting. Interesting. Nobody enjoys reading a boring text, do they? Do you like reading boring? No. So one of the things that people do is they add these great literary devices, these little tricks and tips, what we call figurative language, like a simile or a metaphor. All right, so we're going to talk about that. It is a blast to learn how to use them. Okay, guys, so are you guys ready to make your writing more interesting? Let's Nearpod. All right, I'll put the code in the chat. Give me just a second. Now I can go ahead and put it in the chat. All right, thank you. Okay, the chat is closed for now unless I ask a question. So thank you for entering your name, but we don't need to do that right now. I see everybody just fine. And there is your code for the Nearpod. I see Emmy and Almo and Mackenzie and Madison and Frank and Leon and Benito and Asa and Viviana and Ava. And I think I see Isabella. Oh, very nice. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are all here. I'm going to see, we have 5 people that have joined so far. Remember, I put the Nearpod link and code in the chat, or Zoom chat, so you can join at any time. Also remember, we have 8 friends, that I will share this Nearpod with you later today. I'll send it via email, and it will also be posted on my reading announcement page. So you can always get it there too. And that is a self-paced, so you can do it all on your own. All right, friends, the code will also be at the top of my screen. So if you get knocked out of Nearpod, you can go back into it, and my code will be stuck there at the top. Our essential question today: how can I add literary devices such as similes and metaphors in my writing to make it more interesting so that people would want to read it? Well, let's talk about what a literary device is. It's a tool or a way of writing used by authors. Point to yourself, you're an author, to make your work more meaningful, memorable, or interesting. Some literary devices, like personification, that's like when you make a pencil talk or a dog starts talking, they help create a picture in the reader's mind. Other literary devices, like the ones we're going to do today, similes and metaphors, help us understand a little bit more about what the author's meaning is, okay? It gives us a better idea of what he meant. All literary devices are used to help the author express themselves and their ideas more fully. Oh, I love all the eyeballs. Thank you, guys. On the next slide, you're going to learn about literary device, but not about alliteration. We're going to learn today about similes and metaphors. Quickly, tell me, do you already know a lot about similes and metaphors? B, maybe you know a little bit. You've heard it before. Or C, I don't remember what those are at all. What are similes? What are metaphors? Choose your answer in this poll, or think about your answer if you're not able to join us. I do see 11 friends in. Yay. Awesome. Thank you for being honest. Yeah, it's totally fine if you don't know yet, because, well, that's what we're here for, to learn. Okay, thank you. Let's find out. Similes and metaphors. Of course, you know we're going to start with a video. Some of you might recognize some of these things. Where can we find similes and metaphors? In songs, poems, and even stories. Lots of different texts. And wait for it, movies.
Following are examples of similes in movies. Similes are figurative language which makes comparisons using like or as.
Hey, you like impressions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like in rehearsals, gentlemen. So what are we? Take a guess.
Oh, I've seen one of those.
I'm a fish with a nose like a sword.
Okay, it's hard to hear, but I'm going to read it to you. He says, I'm a fish with a nose like a sword. So how is his nose? Who knows it? Who knows it? What's a sword like? Mackenzie? It must be very...
Swordfish.
Right, it is a swordfish, but what would the nose be like? It would be really
Pointy.
Yeah, sharp and pointy. So if I say my nose is like a sword, you know what it is like then, don't you? So he doesn't just say boring like my nose is pointy, but he makes it more interesting. Let's find the next one.
Sword!
Wait,
It's a swordfish.
Oh, hey, clown boy, let the lady guess.
We have to do something. We can't just let him march on the valley and take his revenge. He'll...
Your mind is like this water, my friend. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see. But if you allow it to settle, the answer becomes clear.
So he said, your mind is like this water. When you're agitated or upset, it's hard to think clearly. But if it's nice and calm, right? Is that true of you guys? When you get like angry or upset, you can't really think very clearly. So instead of him just saying, your mind is a little too confused right now, he makes it interesting by comparing it to water. When it's nice and calm, we can think clearly. Let's do, I think, one or two more.
Water, my friend. When it is the answer becomes clear.
Do you want a chocolate? I could eat about 1.5 million of these. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
So let's look at this one. He said, life is like a box of chocolates. Think about your life for a minute. Instead of just saying, oh, life is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. He compared it to something that we understand. When you open up a nice big box of chocolates and you start tasting them, you ever do that? And you're like, what's inside this chocolate? Oh, what's inside this one? Ooh, I don't like the way this is. So we understand that the author's trying to compare what our crazy lives are, because you never know what's going to happen, with a box of chocolates, because you never know what you're going to get. So much more interesting when we have comparisons that help us understand. All right, that was it. Let's move on and do some more fun stuff. First, I would like to go over what a simile and metaphor is, but get ready because you're going to be creating your own very soon. Simile and metaphor, they're very similar. They're kind of the same thing, but there's a little bit of a difference. What's the difference? I guess it just depends on which one you like more. A simile compares two different things. Look what a metaphor does. It compares two different things. Wait, they both compare? You can use a simile or a metaphor to compare two things to help us understand your thinking. But wait, what's the difference, Mrs. Cruz? A simile, when you say a simile, you add the word like or as. Okay, here's the examples. He was as quiet as a mouse. She swam like a fish. So similes use the word like or as. And you know how I remember? It's got an L for like and an S for as. Get it? Okay, so I remember that similes use those two words to describe and compare things. Now, what is the difference between the metaphor and a simile? The metaphor doesn't use like or as. I'm just going to say, let's say that my cousin came over and he kept scaring me every chance he got. And I looked over him and I said, "You're a monster." Is he really a monster? No, he's a human. But I compared him to a monster because he wouldn't leave me alone. Right? So we would not use like or as, but we can compare my cousin to a monster. And so here's the example. Allie's a walking dictionary, or time is money. Those are phrases that we use to compare so we understand a little bit more what the author's meaning was. Okay, now we're getting closer. This is very short, guys. Pay attention. Remember, you're going to be creating your own.
A poem. Can I read it? Hey, it's about Dot's cat. Otto has black fur and sharp teeth. He moves quietly so he can catch stuff. It's It's fine. Dear Tim and Moby, can you give me some ways to make my poetry better? From Alec. Whether you're writing poetry or prose, poetic devices like similes and metaphors are good ways to improve your writing and make it more interesting. Moby's poem could use a little help from similes and metaphors. A simile is a comparison that uses the words like or as to make a connection between two ideas.
Hey, I just said that, right?
Otto has black fur and sharp teeth. Let's work in some similes to make this line more interesting. How about Otto's fur is as black as the night,
Oh.
and his teeth are like toothpicks. How about daggers? Otto's
That's
fur
more
is black as the night, and his teeth are like daggers. We're comparing the color of his fur to the color of night, and we don't even need to say that his teeth are sharp, because the image of a dagger does that for us.
Mhm.
A metaphor compares two different ideas without using the words like or as. Let's see what we can do about that second line using a metaphor. He moves quietly so he can catch stuff. That's kind of dull. Let's see. How about when he stalks his prey, he is a shadow?
Ooh.
Well, metaphors don't always make logical sense. The cat isn't literally a shadow, but comparing him to a shadow is a great way to describe the way he hunts. So, Otto's fur is as black as the night, and his teeth are like daggers. Those two comparisons are similes because we're saying that one thing is a lot like another thing. When he stalks his prey, he is a shadow. That's a metaphor because we're saying that one thing is another thing. That's a whole lot better. The language is more poetic, conjuring up vivid images in the mind of the reader. Hey, where is Otto anyway?
Ah, look out! Let's take a closer look at the definitions and similes and how to use them, because get ready. I promise you, you're going to be using them in just a moment. Which type of writing piece could you use these literary devices? A simile compares two different things. We use the word like or as. You're as pretty as a flower. You're as smelly as the trash. And it helps to point to a picture and give an example. Similes make very explicit comparisons. They definitely compare two things that are very understandable. All right, those were the examples. A metaphor, we actually call something else. So my cousin, I called him a monster. Well, what about if I said, Frank is so brave, Frank is a lion? He's not really a lion, but now I understand just how brave he is, right? What if I said, wow, this pizza is fire? That means it's so good, I want more, right? It's not really fire. I wouldn't eat fire, but the pizza is so good. Oh, it's fire. Now, let's go on and see if you guys can help me. All right, here's a little quiz. Look at those shoes. Her shoes were as colorful as A, a rainbow, B, air, C, blue. Which would be a simile that would help me compare just how colorful her shoes are to something that is really colorful? Well, let's see if you guys choose an answer. Let's see. Oh, some of you are choosing A. A lot of you are choosing A. That's right. You just compared her shoes to a rainbow because they are super colorful. Let's try the next one. Get ready. Listen carefully. He worked non-stop all day, hard all day. What is he? He is let's think of a metaphor for our friend who worked non-stop all day, really hard. Is he a frog, a machine, or a hard worker? Which is something that we can compare him to that's more interesting. What would you choose? Choosing your answer. Oh, I love it. You're right. If you said machine, if you call him a frog, frogs don't work hard nonstop all day. They kind of sit there. And if we say C, that's not really interesting, is it? He works hard like a hard worker. It's not, that doesn't compare him to anything. So if you said B, a machine works hard all day nonstop. So we would say he is a machine. Okay, oops, go back, Miss Cruz, go back. Let's do the next one. The next question is, I want to join the swim team because people say I swim like a potato, a swimmer, or a shark. What would be a great comparison to show just what a great swimmer I am? And I'm so good, I can join the swim team and beat everybody in a race. A, potato, B, swimmer, or C, shark. What's something you would compare a good swimmer to? If you said shark, yeah, sharks swim really fast, don't they? I would love to be compared to a shark if somebody saw me swim. Yeah, okay, if we said he swims like a potato. Potato isn't a good comparison. They don't swim. And if you swim like a swimmer, you're not really comparing them to anything else. That's not interesting. All right, let's do the last one. Go, go, go. You got 100% on this difficult quiz. You are a student, rock star, pickle. What would you compare yourself to? You got 100% on this quiz. What are you? What is a great thing you would compare yourself to? A student, a rock star, or a pickle? Leon says, don't pick the pickle. Don't pick the pickle. That's not a great thing. They don't even take quizzes. If you said rock star, you got it right. Have you ever been called a rock star before? You should. Yeah, they're great. All right, guys, nice work. Let's move on for those examples. We are over halfway done. Let's listen to this story, and it's just a brief part of the story. I might not even play it all, but let's watch. It's called My Dog is as
My Dog
Smelly
is as Smelly as Dirty
Dirty
Socks,
Socks.
and Other Funny Family Portraits by Hannah Piven. My teacher asked me to draw a picture of my family, and this is what I drew. I showed it to her, and she said, "How great is that?" But I didn't like it. Look at my dad. There are so many things about him that you don't see in this picture, like my daddy is as jumpy as a spring and as playful as a spinning top. He is as fun as a party favor, but sometimes he's as stubborn as a knot in a rope. So I made my picture better. See, that's him. Isn't he nutty? And what about this drawing of my mom? Sorry, but it doesn't tell the whole story. My mommy is as soft as the softest fluff and as bright as the brightest light. She is as tasty as the crunchiest cookie. No, tastier. She's as delicious as a croissant.
Oh, don't eat your mom.
That's my yummy mommy. Mommy,
Aww.
I'm going to eat you all up. And now you're probably wondering what my big brother is really like. Well, my brother is as amusing as a game of marbles and as strong as a baseball bat. But when we play hide and seek, he's as sneaky as a snake. Oh, and one more thing. He eats like a, I'll give you a clue, oink oink. Pig! That's my brother right there. And what about my baby brother? He is not this quiet. My baby brother is as sweet as candy. This is true. But he never stops crying. He's as loud as a whistle, or maybe a horn, or even an alarm clock.
Keep your eyes up.
Louder. He's as loud as a fire truck. Isn't he cute? Now, shh.
As loud as a fire truck. That's pretty loud.
And then there's Schmutz. I'll be honest with you. Schmutz stinks. Schmutz is as stinky as an onion.
Ew.
He's as nasty as canned fish.
Ew.
As icky as pepperoni. And as smelly as dirty socks.
Ew.
Turn the page at your own risk.
Okay, now putrid means stinky too. So give me an answer. He is as putrid as, think of something that you would compare that putrid, stinky dog to. What is something that is super stinky? Ew. And Compare our friend's dog to something that is super putrid. What would you come up with? 10 onions, an onion, stinky socks, trash can. Ooh, how interesting. A rat. Yeah. Ooh, garbage can. Yes, I love it. Great answers, guys. What is something that is really disgusting? Wow. All right, guys, great work. If you didn't get a chance to do that, don't worry. We'll do another one. We're going to skip ahead. Look at this friend, Walter. Now, it's going to be time for you to give me some answers, so wait for me to call your name. It says Walter is taste testing his sister's meal, so she cooked for him. Let's help him come up with an interesting ways to describe his food using similes and metaphors. So he's going to compare the taste of his meal to certain objects. So are you guys ready? Number 1 says, and let's see who I'm going to call. This bread is as soggy wet. What is something that is soggy wet? Benito, I see your hand. Go for it.
Wet towel.
It's funny. This bread is as soggy as a wet towel. Ew. I love it. Let's do number 2. Thank you. The orange drink is as tart like what's something that's really tart? Emmy, I see your hand. Go.
Tart as a lollipop.
Ooh, like a sour lollipop? Yeah, okay, let me see. This orange
lollipop.
This orange drink is tart like a sour lollipop. I love it. Thank you for making that comparison. Who wants to do number 3? This baked potato is as dry as, what's something that's really dry? Viviana. Did you find your unmute button? Do you see your little unmute button? Might need to get a family member. Oh, she's got it. Okay, what's something that's super dry?
Dry.
What's dry? Think of something that's super dry. How about the desert? The desert? Can we say the desert?
No.
How about an empty cup?
I would
A
say
paper towel? What's really dry?
a paper towel.
I love it. Let's try it. This baked potato is dry as a paper towel. Blech.
Ew.
Viviana, that was great. Number 4, this meat is salty like, oh, it's something that's super salty. Asa, what's something really salty?
A Great Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's great. This meat is salty like the Great Salt Lakes. Oh my goodness. I have never seen it there, but I've seen it from outer space. It just looks like white salt, doesn't it? Oh, that's super salty. I wouldn't be able to eat that. Now, great work. Now let's wrap it up and think of a metaphor. This meal is, now if you don't like the meal because the bread is soggy like a wet towel, the orange drink is tart like a sour lollipop, the baked potato is dry as paper towels, and the meat is salty as the Great Salt Lake. So what is this meal to you? Let's compare it to something that's really awful. What do you guys think? Almo, something that's really awful.
Okay. A garbage can.
That's what I was thinking. This meal is garbage. Everybody unmute and say it real fast before I
This
count to
meal
five.
is garbage.
Garbage.
Meal is garbage.
Five.
Meal is
Good
garbage.
This meal
work.
is garbage.
2, mute. 1.
The meal tastes like
If you're not muted, you missed it. Okay, good work. Now, let's wrap this up. We are getting close to being done. This is, what is this? Oh, this is the fill in the blank. Well, we don't really have time to go over it, but is there anybody who wants to read it? Yeah. Ooh, Ava. Ava, let's hear from you. I'll help you if you get stuck, okay? Go ahead and read that.
It was a dark and stormy night. The wind howled like a blank. I tried to finish my homework, but the power went out. My mom lit the candle, but it was still as dark as blank. We sang songs and ate snacks. I ate so many snacks. My dad said I was a blank. A few hours later, the power flickered on and lights were as bright as the blank, but it was time for bed and I'm as sleepy as a blank. I guess I'll finish my homework tomorrow. Good night.
That was wonderful. Great job reading. Now you guys would have the job of filling in the blanks. You don't have to worry about it right now, but if you do this on your own, you will select the words from the word bank that you think would compare and explain just how windy that, or how loud that wind was, how dark it was, how hungry you were for all those snacks, just how bright the lights were when they came back on, just how sleepy you were when it was at the end of the night. So, you guys are already working on it. Don't worry about it. I wanted just to go over that with you. How confident do you feel now in your ability to not only define and use similes and metaphors? How do you feel now? Super confident? A, I've got this. I can't wait to use similes and metaphors in my writings. Yes. Or B, I need a little more help, just a bit more practice so I know the difference and I can figure them out. Or C, what? Wait, help. And which one, and we're going to unmute now, and when I call your name, just raise your hand so I know who wants to share the answer. Which one are you really, really excited to use first? A simile, where it says like or as, or a metaphor where you basically call something else? Okay, Asa, which one are you going to try first? Simile or metaphor? What?
metaphors.
Metaphors. Like my brother's a monster. That's right. Good work, Asa. All right, who else? Who else wants to tell me? Are you going to try a simile or a metaphor in your writing? I can't wait to read them. Emmy, which one are you going to try first?
Both.
You want to do both? I'm glad you said that.
I can do two at the same time. Have
You
another notebook in my hand and two notebooks.
You can. As a matter of fact, people do use multiple in their writing. It's not every sentence, but they're kind of sprinkled or peppered in so that we can understand. Yeah, thank you. All right, let me go to Frank. Frank, what are you going to try first?
Metaphor.
A metaphor. What are you going to call your brother?
Scary monster.
That's right. My brother's a scary monster. He's not really a monster, but we'll understand just how you feel about him. All right. Thank you, Frank. Let's try. Ava, which one are you going to do first?
Metaphor.
You like the metaphor too? I usually use similes because they're easier. I can always go, she is as blank as, or this is just like. So metaphors are more fun though, aren't they? Because you can literally call somebody well, figuratively call somebody something else. They're not really a monster or a garbage can or whatever, but they understand now. We can get a better idea of what the author really wants us to feel and understand. Okay, let me go to Mackenzie before I run out of words. Go, Mackenzie.
Metaphors.
Metaphor, you like that one too. Your brother is a what?
I don't know.
He is a pumpkin.
Yeah.
That tells me he's cute, he's round, and maybe he's even, I don't know, he rolls around a lot.
He's a picky eater.
Yeah. Oh, you could say let me see, my dad is a teddy bear because I cuddle him so much, right? All right, I love these. Okay, guys, guess what? We're all finished, but before you leave, I do need to say this. I need to say it. You can use similes and metaphors in all different types of text. Authors use them in poems. They use them in stories. They even use them in nonfiction text, like expositories. Yeah. Think of all the different places you could put a simile or a metaphor to help us understand. Who's writing a story right now? Who's writing a text right now? Who's gonna write one? Yeah, we have a lot that we're gonna be writing over the year. I would love to see a couple of similes and metaphors sprinkled in like pepper. All right, loves, any questions?